All right. Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar, the Phishing Net, presented by Phin Security. My name is Andrew, and I'm going to be walking you through today's content. The purpose of today's webinar is to be informative. We want to connect with our partner base, as well as anyone that has questions about Phin, wants to know more. This is the environment to do it in. So, as we go through the presentation, I encourage any questions that the audience might have to be placed in the chat. There will be dedicated time at the end of today's session to be a Q&A session. So definitely, if you have questions related to what we are talking about, or what we are not talking about, anything related to Phin or the MSP landscape, we're happy to discuss today. So feel free to put those questions in the chat. And this is a new webinar series. So we are starting this today, Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. And so this will be a series, the Phishing Net, that runs every other Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can catch one of us from the partner success team running the event and answering questions. We also want this to be kind of in a way like an AMA and Ask Me Anything as well. So today's topic will be on continuous training campaigns, and as well as a couple other subcategories that I'll go over. So for the time being, let's get right into it. So again, like I've already mentioned, my name is Andrew. I have been at Phin for a little over a year in our partner success department. So I am actually going to switch. This is a screenshot of our portal that I'm actually going to go to for today's demonstration here. So today, again, I'm going to be going over kind of the ins and outs of a continuous campaign and our continuous campaign creator. It's one of the best features of Phin Security. It's very easy to set up. All you have to do is answer 7 questions for whoever you're administering security awareness training to, whether that's a customer of yours or your own team, etc. So it's very easy to set up, and it's kind of has that set it and forget it aspect to it as well. So and I will kind of walk through what that looks like and also best practices for configuration of that. So what I'm going to do for today is I'm going to add a new company from my partner homepage. And this is my demo account, of course. So this is going to be, we're going to call this the Phishing Net and create company. So this is a brand new company. So if I was, a managed service provider and I was providing this to one of my customers, the Phishing Net, this is going to be my customer for today. And this is what their tenant would look like, again, if you're not familiar. And so going to the bottom here, so I'm going to skip all this for now. Let's just say we did all this. So we branded this appropriately. Email settings, we set up allow listing to ensure that phishing simulated emails get through. We configured welcome emails, set those expectations of what training is going to look like, imported our users, and then the campaigns. This is kind of like the bulk of it. And so there's 2 parts to Phin's campaigns, if you're not familiar. It's the phishing simulated side and also training modules. And so if I go through this continuous campaign creator, again, let's just say I did all this other stuff. It's going to ask me 7 questions, and I'm going to go through these really quickly. And based on my responses to these 7 questions, what it's doing is it's automatically spitting out you're going to see topics and tags for the campaign. So it's going to be custom to each tenant or customer that you have doing this. So I'm just going to quickly run through this a little bit faster than I was doing it. We're going to say financial, and they don't need HIPAA. So after those 7 questions, as I alluded to earlier, this is where you can see those generated tags for the phishing campaign that was just created and the generated topics. And so essentially how this works, if you're not familiar, is for a continuous campaign to run, we're selecting tags and we're selecting topics. We're not selecting individual courses, because all of our content is tagged according to one of these tags in terms of phishing templates or topics for training modules. And the reason for that is we basically start at the top, let's say for training, with phishing. And so if this was your list of topics for training, we would start at the top. Phishing would be the first topic. And if, let's say, you're doing once a month training, month 1 would be phishing, followed by month 2 device security, month 3 passwords, etc., all the way down the list. And when we get past PCI, back up to phishing again, the cycle repeats, and a new course is automatically pushed out in that same training or in that same phishing topic. So that topic being phishing, and then a new course for device security, and then a new course for passwords, one that was not administered in the last cycle, if you will. So that's kind of how we can keep it continuous, so we're not getting duplicate courses, and it's the same category, but a little bit different content that's being pushed out. And then the same thing for phishing, and we'll talk more about phishing as we go. But this is kind of the summary of all that, of all the questions that I answered there. So if we go to next, here's where you can set the schedule. So it's very easy to set a cadence. All you have to do is select your start date. And so if you want your start date to be as soon as possible, I'd recommend it being the next day. That's essentially the soonest it can be, is the next day. So today's the 14th. I set it to the 15th. And so this is just this start scheduling no earlier than date. This is not when it's actually going to go out. If you knew you didn't want to start it for a few months, you can push it out, the start date to be a few months. This is just when the cadence is going to start. And so you can see this cadence with the blue lettering here. If you want to adjust this cadence, you can. By default, it'll be the first Monday of every month. So let's just say I wanted to make it on a Wednesday. I think it'll be the 4th. Let's actually say a Thursday. Third Thursday, it would change the first send date, as you can see here, from the first Monday of the month, which was in June, to be actually this Thursday on May 16th. So you kind of have to play around with the cadence that works for you based on your start date, based on these kind of fields right here. And so if I reset this to what it was, this was what it was originally. This was June 3rd, 2024. So just kind of a best practice there is just be cognizant of your start date, and then the cadence that you want to set. You also have options for twice a month. You can do twice, I should say once per week, once per quarter. You can push that out as much as you want. If you're doing a fixed link campaign, you can actually push out all the content all at once, but because this is continuous, that's not the goal. And so this is going to run really until you tell it to stop. So it's very nice automation there that we have. For phishing specifically, this is unique to phishing, this phishing sending window. So by default, this will be sent across 3 days. And so what that means is at Phin, for our phishing emails in terms of campaigns, we send them over a phishing window, and no two users will get the same fish at the same time. In order to make it a more authentic experience. If everyone's getting a Microsoft phishing template being sent to them at the same date and the same time, it's not going to create a very authentic experience. It's going to create that groupthink where people know, hey, this is a phishing email. And so by doing this, spreading it out over at least a 3-day window, as many as a 7-day window, you can create that illusion that, hey, this is something to, pay attention to. This is a real threat. When it is in fact just a simulation. So that is the sending window. And so you can do the same thing for training. Once you do that, by default, these campaigns live separately. So you have to set the training I should say the schedule for both the phishing campaign as well as the training. But once I'm done with that and I'm happy with it, let's just change this to match up with the other one. So both will be the first Monday of next month, June 3rd, and click submit. So I've automatically created a continuous phishing and training campaign in just a few minutes. And so if I ever wanted to go back and check those, I can use this left-hand nav menu to do so and go to campaigns, and you can see them right here. The cool thing about it is you have this option to view the campaign. You can view really just information pertinent to the campaign. I think this is a feature that's not used as much as it should be. You can see the cadence that you sent, when is the next attempt, and you can see this window set here, as I mentioned earlier. The audience, right now there is no audience because we haven't uploaded users, and then all of the templates that are going to be sent in the future. And so you can kind of see the list of them, search for any of them, and then again, these are all based on your responses to those 7 questions. It's pulling in certain templates and not pulling in others based on those responses. And so training is essentially the same, looks a little bit different. You can see kind of like a high-level overview. But again, if you wanted to know what's coming next, future courses. You can see that right here. What's coming, when, you can click in, kind of preview it here. So this one you can see is going to be deepfake audio scans, so scams, I should say. And so, you can go into the video, take the assessment. Again, 90% of our training, 5 minutes or less. So very easy for users to complete. I'm gonna actually exit this. There we go. Awesome. So that is continuous campaigns. So very easy and straightforward. Again, if you're focused on delivering regular training over a long period of time that meets certain criteria, certain topics. Again, we had filters in those 7 questions for things like HIPAA, things like GDPR. We'll include certain phishing attempts and phishing templates based on those responses, and same with training. So it's there for that aspect of some customization without being completely bland and not relevant to some team members if they don't need GDPR or whatever it may be. So that's kind of those 7 questions keep it relevant, keep it able to be engaging, as well as keep it easy for you as well, and custom as well. So that is continuous campaigns. You also have the option, which we're actually going to go over at a later webinar in this series. You have the option, if you go to this campaigns kind of dashboard that you can see here for training, you have the option to create what's called a fixed link campaign or an onboarding campaign. And these are going to be much more custom. You can select the specific content that's going into it. So these are all of our courses essentially that we have either manually, or we have these pre-built options. Actually, that's going to be a collection of a certain amount of courses. This is for administrative teams, and this is kind of a good way to get started if you're not sure what to produce in terms of content. So kind of think of it like a playlist. It's there for you to use, and kind of for situational things as well. Situational teams, finance team, extended security awareness, so executives, things like that. So definitely encourage you to check those out, but we'll go into those into more detail next time. So I will go ahead and pause there. And so wanted to check the chat and see if there were any questions. So I don't see any questions right now, so that's all right. If we do have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Some of the common questions that we do have that I actually wanted to take you through today. One of those being what happens if a user clicks on a phishing attempt, and we've heard this learning moment concept with Phin, right? So what does that actually look like? So I'll actually take you through exactly what that looks like. And so for this, I wanted to pull up one of our phishing templates, and so this is from FedEx. You can kind of see that here. And so if I click track package, thinking it was real, right? You can see this is what the learning environment looks like. And so it'll take a few seconds for these kind of prompts to appear that just appear. And so this will kind of walk the user through everything they need to know of how they can avoid clicking this exact same email in the future, and basically ways to change your behavior, right? So it's instead of, we've gotten the feedback a lot of users who have clicked on a phishing email and that have been assigned some random training that is long and is not relevant to them, and they feel like they're being punished. So this is not punitive. It's meant to be educational and interactive, and that's exactly what you can do here. And so this is essentially what it looks like. Again, if you're not familiar, it highlights certain things like check for suspicious logos, check the sending domain, look for, hover over links before you click on them, see where they take you. But a lot of other updates as well, things to look for in terms of a phishing email. Once they go through, they read all of the prompts that you saw there, they click done. You can actually see that will register as a completed learning moment in their phishing analytics, which you can see here. And so that's good to track. Some users are not as aware that that is a thing. They'll click this, right? Let me go back to this here. They'll click this thinking they're tracking their package, and they'll be like, wait, this is not FedEx. I'm clicking out right away, and learning moment has not been completed. And so if you want that additional training from a learning moment, which I highly recommend, I think education is the first step in that, knowing that, hey, if you click this, learning moment is coming after, and we recommend that you complete it, right? So that is what a learning moment looks like. And so, in terms of Phin, we actually have some really exciting advancements coming up soon. Report a Phish is currently in beta testing. So we're testing the opportunity to have a report a Phish button. So users, in their email can actually go here. In their Outlook email, this is G Suite, but if they go here, they can report it as phishing and send it to an email address of choosing or some sort of repository that we're still working on, in terms of reported emails and phishing attempts. So that is coming hopefully in the next couple of months. But that is something that we're very excited about here at Phin. And as well as we're constantly updating the user interface. We updated it a couple months ago. We're going to do another update this month. So keep an eye out for that. Syncing speeds for the Azure sync, scheduling feature has been improved, and then updated reports as well. So just some updates there that I wanted to share with everyone, and I want to see how we're doing on time. Yep, we're good, and no questions in the chat. I promise you don't take it easy on me. I'm happy to answer any questions. So those are some common things that we're working on within Phin, and going back to the learning moment, that's a pretty common question. It's like, what does that actually look like? How does that work? We actually have resources on that in our knowledge base. So let me pull this back up here. And so in our knowledge base, you might have seen it looks like this. And so if you actually go to that, you can scroll down and see part of that there. And so, let me actually go do that right now. You can see some resources that we have. And so we have this end user demo video, highlighting exactly what I just did. Does the same thing for training and reporting, some e-guides, some marketing material, how to communicate the importance of security awareness training to your customers or to whoever is taking the training, right? Awesome. And like I said, so we're going to be doing these every 2 weeks. Next week is going to be reporting. A couple weeks after that, creating custom training campaigns, as well as phishing. A couple weeks after that is how to actually create your own phishing template. So that's going to be exciting. Can really get creative in the works there. User management after that, branding and co-managed clients, and then report a phish. As long as that has full functionality, we are planning to share that with our partners and exactly how that works. So that is that. Last thing that I wanted to share before we end here is resources. So if you go to, let's just say like you're on your partner homepage, which would be this for me, right? If I go back into the customer I just created, you can go into resources here. Actually, yeah, let me show that here. Resources, as well as at the partner level, resources. And so this is very valuable for a lot of our partners. If you're not familiar with this, again, this will take you to our knowledge base. Within our knowledge base is also submitted tickets. You can get in touch with our support team. Any questions you have, feature requests, things you want to see, anything like that. We're happy to hear those forms of feedback. And then obviously support is for a lot of technical questions as well. Allow listing. Learning moment, again, this kind of walks through exactly what I just showed you of like, what exactly is that going to look like? So lots of helpful guides there. There's a quick setup guide in case you don't know where to get started. And then as well as that, there's just lots of guides for how to do very specific things. And so even what I just did today, you can go to our knowledge base and search continuous. And here we have a full article for how to set up continuous training campaigns. And we have the same exact thing for phishing as well. So that being said, lots of resources, even just taking a look here of all of those, guides that we have, how to do very specific things, most of which, I should say all of which we do have a knowledge base article on. So awesome. So that is really all we had today. Again, I don't see any questions in the chat. So if there are questions that arise, feel free to let me know. Happy to answer anything. We're happy to talk about it here at Phin. We love talking about all things cybersecurity, security awareness training, the importance of security awareness training. And so, that's something that we definitely want to encourage with, our partners and their end users and customers. And so that's something that is very important to us. So feel free to reach out to us. We're always available. You'll see our release emails. You'll see emails for new things that come out, engaging, what we call engagement emails, things like that, and also just specific reach out as well. I try and reach out to as many partners as I can and just say, hey, how's it going? I noticed you're doing great, setting up campaigns, anything you need to walk through. So keep an eye out for any of those, and happy to go through anything. So thank you so much for your time today. Really happy to be able to do these and start this webinar series. And so again, my name is Andrew with Phin. And so have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, everyone.